The Journal of the Witch, Jack Stormrider. Spring, Week 2. As I was waiting for some bread to rise, there was a small knocking at my door. It was a pair of goblins. They stood waist-high, green skin with moss for clothes. The one on the left groaned out a "Help, stupid circles," and pointed to the one on the right, who was grabbing every pebble it could reach and started making a small standing circle on my front steps. I nodded to them and said, "I see. I will have to go and get my reagents. Please feel free to have Right make circles in my garden while I'm gone." Left. Left made what I think is a happy sound and pulled Right to the garden. Case 2. Right stupid circles. Patient name, the Goblin Right. Job, goblin things I don't know. Ailment, druidic madness. Reagents needed, cynic ivy and surgeon sap. A simple thing to solve, some cynic ivy tea should do it, just we'll add some surgeon sap to sweeten it. Moonbreaker Mountain should have some. I stopped at the base camp and there was a fresh group of adventurers from Heroes Hollow. I asked them if they heard anything of a place called The Strange. Their mage said a book had mentioned it, but I didn't have room to take it. I nodded and chatted about my time in the Hollow. Hearing I was a witch, they gave me some vampire's venom in exchange for a prayer of luck. As I continued up the mountain, I spied the ivy I needed. As I was picking it off the boulders, they moved, and an old golem. The poor thing, I bet I could fix it with some time. I'll have to remember it. Reagent found, I headed home. Cynic tea. Cynic ivy, boiled for senses and magic. Surgeon sap, raw for sweet. Bring half a cauldron of water to a boil. Add cynic ivy whole, let the ivy boil for 5 minutes, then strain into a teapot and stir in surgeon sap. Pour into mugs of choice. Once the tea was ready, I brought it out to the two goblins. I found them hard at work on standing circles about as high as them, a lovely addition around the tree and bench. They even add glyphs to their forehead that translated to an L and R. Apparently the goblins of this area don't have names, but respect witches. So much that they will take any name given from a witch. And so, these two are Left and Right. I gave Right its tea and that helped it calm down. No more stupid circles, as Left said. Once cured, Right bowed and Left dropped a bag of 24 silver. I still have no idea where they got it from. I decided it was time I went out and got myself a familiar. Seeing Left and Right just made me a bit lonely, and as my mother always told me, don't sit there wanting, get up and get. I decided to go out to Glitterwood Grove, as the moss-covered ground and tall trees seemed a comfortable spot. I set out a circle of stones and dried flowers. I breathed my magic into the circle and sat in the center and waited for the calling. It was less words and more feeling. Something lost in wanting home. I spoke to it and lended my warmth. When I opened my eyes, a wisp floated in front of me, a bright ball hiding an ever-moving serpent. We talked, felt together, and apparently it felt I didn't charge enough, shrewd little thing. I haven't named it yet, don't want to accidentally give it something silly. It enjoys the cottage and the willow, though. It loves hiding amongst the branches and the rafters. I decided to head into the village to get some foodstuffs and herbs. No reason the nurse willow has to take up the whole plot. I'm sure some thyme or rosemary will be fine. While I was walking through the village center, a farmer, Farmer Jack, asked if I could look out for his pigs. I told him I would. I decided to spend my spare time fixing that old stone golem I found. My familiar and I headed up the mountain with provisions and a small tent. I figured I could work on it for a couple days. Now, I only remember the basics of golemancy, but I had some brushes and a small chisel and hammer I found in the cottage. Most of the repair was removing the moss, ivy, and other plants growing on it anyway. I replaced as much of the plant life as I could. This is where I found some cynic ivy before, and it would be a shame to lose it. The night was beautiful, though. So many stars and planets were visible up there. The second day I realized some of the glyphs had worn away, and after that, I went home. End report.